Well, you guys, I'm here today at the Berkshire Mall in Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, and this is a video that I'm very sad to have to make, but I kind of knew deep down I'd have to make it eventually. The owner of this mall has sold it to a new developer, and as early as next year, they are planning on demolishing this amazing, preserved 80s mall. So this mall is near and dear to my heart just because I came a few years ago and I just absolutely fell in love with it. It's full of 80s charm, neon lights, fountains, you name it. It's amazing, and it's a real shame that they plan on demolishing this place instead of preserving it. So in today's video, we're going to go explore it, try and capture it, which may be for the last time. So come with us to the Berkshire Mall. We have some real plants. And just look at this awesome honeycomb flooring. Even this trash can is very old school. All right, let's take a look at the directory here. So it's one floor with a food court on kind of like a second floor area. And it's been a while, so I don't remember what all's open here. So we have a fountain here, and they have water in it. It's not running, but they do have water in it. The last time I was here in 2022, they had drained it completely. So it's good to see that they're doing at least something with it. But just look at everything around it. Look at these little conversation pits and all these plants. If I could toss a coin in here and make a wish, I'd wish for this mall to never close. So how did we get to this point, with demolition imminent at this beautiful vintage mall? Despite having good occupancy and foot traffic and being popular with the local community, the building itself has suffered from a series of damaging incidents and neglect from mall ownership. In 2009, a fire broke out in Victoria's Secret, which resulted in water damage from the sprinkler system. And in 2010, another fire occurred inside Boscov's. In 2014, a freak hailstorm damaged portions of the roof and shattered skylights throughout the mall. 2018 saw the closing of both the Sears and Bon-Ton anchor stores, and in 2020, the mall was sold to Namdar Realty Group. In 2022, the fire department condemned the former Bon-Ton space due to a collapsing roof. In 2024, a water main break resulted in the mall being temporarily closed. Later that year, mall ownership faced pressure from local government to address the large sinkholes opening up in the parking lot. This led to major portions of the parking lot to be fenced off. We'll go outside and check that out later on in the video. In 2025, State Senator Judy Schwank made a formal request to Namdar to address the growing issues with the mall or sell the property for redevelopment. And that brings us where we are today, with Berkshire Mall being sold to Abrams Realty, who plan on leveling the mall entirely. So today's visit did not quite go as planned. I had hoped to film as much of this mall as possible, but as I approached the center court area of the mall, a custodian saw me with my phone out and yelled at me to stop filming. So I wasn't able to get as much footage as I had wanted to, but I will share with you what I got, and I will include some footage from a trip I made in 2022 that I never published. Look at the old tile work on this store. Not sure what this used to be, but it's very old school looking. That's very cool. This is another very old looking store here. That's very cool. Let's take a look at this little claw machine arcade here. So this store was an old KB Toys. You can see by the storefront. Oh, and there's an old Orange Julius stand. Well, that's a shame that closed. Oh, and they still have an open FYE with the old logo. That's really cool. We're going to have to check this out. Oh wow, they still have all the old CD racks in the back. This is how FYE used to look back in the day, and I think most of the stores have gotten rid of these, but they still have a full CD section and I think DVDs all throughout here. This is really something. Oh man, feels like I'm back in my teenage years. Look at this beautiful neon sign here on the Habitat store. You know, if you ask me, I would definitely not say that this is a dead mall. Certainly looks like it's full of stores and people shopping. So it just kind of makes the impending demolition hurt all that much more. So it looks like they have an arcade here, but unfortunately, it's only open on weekends, so we're not going to be able to see that today. But look at that. It looks like a fantastic retro arcade. And so after our little run-in with the staff, we managed to stay out of her sight and made our way down towards the Boscovs. And let's just pause for a few moments and appreciate this gorgeous fountain. So we wanted to check out this Boscov's to see if it had any old school features left in it. Some Boscov stores are still full of neon lights and mirrored ceilings and all kinds of cool stuff. This store looked like it had been updated, but it still had some neon signs here and there, and these big vegetables, which I thought were a lot of fun.
Another cute cat spider.
That's cute.
This is my vibe right now.
Over here is the closed Ruby Tuesday, and we have another fantastic neon sign here at this nail salon. Just look at that. So let's take a walk outside and see this crumbling parking lot that's been a point of controversy between mall ownership and the local government. More than half of the parking lot is closed off on this side, and even more on the opposite side of the mall that I wasn't able to get to. I imagine fixing this would just cost a lot of money to mall ownership that they're just not willing to pay for. I couldn't see the sinkholes from where I was standing, but it's definitely in rough shape and in need of some serious repair. We can even see the work permit from the borough taped to the window here. I love how even in this small space between the entrances that they have planters with live plants in them. Just all these vintage touches to this place. It just makes me so sad to know that it's going to be gone. And looking here at this plaque for the mall, it just makes me want to cry. I wanted to film the center area of the mall, but I had to skip it on this trip. There was a security guard posted at a desk, and the custodial staff was lingering around it. I didn't want to press my luck and get banned because I do want to make another trip before it closes permanently. But stick around because I will be showing that part in my older footage near the end of the video. And there was no way we were going to leave today without first seeing the amazing neon-lit food court. This place is just unreal. It feels like I'm in a movie from the late 80s. There's really nothing like this around anymore, and it's a crime that it's going to be gone soon. While we were sitting in the food court, the custodian who had yelled at me earlier was hanging around and watching us like a hawk, so we thought it would be best to leave before we got kicked out. It was really frustrating because I had planned on filming every inch of the mall on this trip. So we're going to dig into the archive and go back to a trip I made in summer of 2022 before the mall fell into a state of neglect. These plants look much taller and healthier than they did on my recent trip. Very nice to see that, and I love any mall that has live plants. It's something you don't really see very much anymore. And so here we have the fountain by the former Sears, and notice how tall these plants are. They're almost as tall as I am. And so they had it drained and it looks like they were cleaning it out, but I don't think they ever refilled it until just a few months before my recent trip. So they had this fountain running on my first trip to the mall in 2021, so I was fortunate enough to see it in all its glory. If you'd like to see that, check out that video. I'll leave a link in the description below, and maybe I'll release it as a short on my shorts channel. Be sure to check that out. I think this fountain has to be my favorite mall fountain that I've ever seen. Most malls have either removed the fountains, and if they still have a fountain, it's not as big and immersive as this one. To be able to walk through it on a bridge like that and all these little seating areas just kind of makes you a part of the fountain, the whole experience. It's really something special, and it's a shame that it's going to be gone. And let's take a look inside the closed Sears. Now they reopened this as a Spirit Halloween, and I missed the boat on that. During my trip, they had some sort of baby expo going on there, and I didn't want to try and crash that. So I don't know what this store was. If you happen to know, please let me know in the comments. But as we can see, it's a very old school looking mall store. Likely a shoe store or a clothing store of some sort. Very cool stuff. And here we have another awesome neon sign above this pizzeria. Kind of interesting that there are two pizza places at this mall. And over here we have these large, healthy, lush mall plants. How pretty are these? And we have this store again, which I still haven't identified, so help me out if you know. And over here, this was a pet store, so looks like I answered my own question from earlier in the video. It used to be very common to see pet stores inside malls, but they've kind of been phased out, and I think that's for the best because they're not really reputable. Here we have an airbrushing store, and look at the neon lights in the back of that store. How cool is that? Now this was open on my recent visit, but I wasn't able to go inside because I didn't want to risk getting kicked out. So here we have a stand for Bavarian Pretzel Bakery, and I believe this was a Pennsylvania-based chain with locations in many malls in the area. Look at that old menu board. How cool is that? Now I think these are all defunct at this point, sadly. There's something really interesting inside this Finish Line store. They still have the old basketball hoop above the desk, just a lingering remnant of whimsical 90s store design back before minimalism took hold of everything. And here we have the Boscov's fountain, and on my recent visit it looks like it had been given a new paint job and all the plants in the center had been removed from it. I love mall fountains so much just because they harken back to a time when things existed just to be aesthetically pleasing, just to be fun, to make a great experience for the people shopping there. Alright, now let's head to the center court area of the mall and look at this amazing elevator with the split staircase wrapping around it. Just that gorgeous 90s teal color and all the shiny brass around it. It's just such a beautiful relic of that time period. And this really cool sign pointing up to the food court on the second floor. And over here we have these pod seats, which I absolutely love. I believe these have been in the mall since it opened in the 70s. And just how cool are these? I really hope that they remove these and someone can preserve these before the mall is demolished. And when this mall first opened in the 70s, this center area was also a large fountain. So that was 3 fountains in this mall. Let's look inside the old Bon-Ton. Now this closed in 2018, and there were talks to open up an antique mall in this space, but it never came to pass. This section was condemned by the fire department due to a collapsing roof. They eventually put drywall up over these windows to seal it off from the rest of the mall, and from what I've heard, there was a really bad mold and mildew smell coming out of it. And those are indeed disco balls hanging from the ceiling. I don't know why they were there, but it's pretty cool to see them. I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't removed these payphones after they've been sitting unused for several years. Actually, I'm not surprised considering how much this mall is being neglected overall. And let's once again ascend to heaven, the iconic, amazing neon food court at the Berkshire Mall. And it looks mostly the same as it did on my more recent visit. The Chick-fil-A is still open, but other than that, the only other food options were Ray's Pizza and China Max. But you'll notice that there's a lot more people here sitting and eating. This was added to the mall in 1989, and it's just a beautiful time capsule of design from that time period. I wonder if I ask nicely if they'll let me keep one of these neon columns and have it installed in my house. Probably not. And this is the sign that faces out into the parking lot. It's kind of hard to get a good look at it. It says Terrace Cafe, and it has red and blue neon on it, and it's just another great piece of late 80s, early 90s mall design. Over here we have a dead taco stand, and again, look at that amazing old school menu board and all those cool tiles on the backsplash here. This just reminds me of how mall food courts used to look back in the 90s when I was a kid going to the mall. We can see all these faded pictures here, and it just looks like they've just left everything behind. I really wonder what's going to happen to all this stuff when they do demolish the mall. Are they going to let people keep pieces of it and preserve it, or is it all just going to get trashed? I'm thinking it's probably going to get trashed, knowing Namdar. It makes me so sad to think about that, because it's just such a beautiful, iconic mall. In the community of people who love these things, this mall is especially beloved, so it hurts really badly to know what's going to happen to this mall. And let's take another look into the Bon-Ton from the top floor. Another creepy liminal space. Ooh. Just everything about this mall, every little detail, it's just so engrossing and magical. I love it so much, and I'm heartbroken. I really am heartbroken. Look at this elevator. Now, would you consider this Art Deco? I don't know what the name for this design style is, but it's amazing. I really love it so much. I'm going to be putting all my old footage of this mall up on my Patreon page. Be sure to check that out. I have exclusive unreleased videos on there, and your support goes a long way to help me keep this channel going. More than anything, I'm angry that a place like this was allowed to fall into such a state of disrepair by the people who owned it. It's an amazing building full of vintage charm, and it should have been preserved. But I guess that's just how it goes. I hope to make at least one more trip before the final curtain falls on Berkshire Mall, so be sure to stick around for that and make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me on this trip, and I will see you in the next adventure. Bye.